Welcome to NeoUnrealist. The resistance to Judge Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation has now officially gone off the rails and entered the land of the rabid batshit crazy. And whatever you think about the old Pizzagate conspiracy theory and Pizzagators, whether you were for or against it, it seems to be the public perception anyway of Pizzagate, certainly in left-wing circles. It's pretty much accepted wisdom in the mainstream media that Pizzagate is the province of the foil hat-wearing crowd who, in the Venn diagram of conspiracy theories that they have, they'd place between Bigfoot enthusiasts and those raising awareness of growing homosexuality in frog populations. So you get the idea. They use labels like Pizzagate as a way to dismiss news stories that the political right focuses on as crazy talk, stuff without evidence. Now, if you watch this channel, odds are you follow politics, at least to some minimal degree, and know all about the Judge Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearings for the United States Supreme Court and the allegations against him by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. Now, Dr. Ford, for those of you who don't know, she alleges that at a summer house party, she believes, back in the very early 1980s, it's believed probably the summer of 1982, Kavanaugh attempted to hold her down on a bed in an upstairs bedroom and grope her over her clothes and attempted to disrobe her in what she claims was a prelude to raping and, in her words, inadvertently killing her. Now, without going into all the details of the Ford allegations, this alleged of his intent to rape and possibly kill her inadvertently, she described 4 other people who were at the party, which, if you think about it, this really doesn't sound like a party if there's only 5 people in the house, including her. But anyway, here's who she says was there with her. Brett Kavanaugh, of course, who denies not just the attempted sexual assault, and I'm sure the possibility of him inadvertently killing this woman, but says he has no memory of even being at this event. Mark Judge, Judge Kavanaugh's friend and classmate, who Ford says was in the room alternating between egging Kavanaugh on and telling him to stop, whatever it is she says he was doing to her. Judge also denies any memory of ever being at this event at all. A third boy she described as PJ, who we now know is Patrick J. Smythe, a classmate of Kavanaugh, who Ford says was not in the room, but just present in the home. Smythe has also denied any memory of being present at this event. Lastly, the 4th and last person Ford named was her friend and classmate, Leland Accuser, who now, as of this weekend, has also made a statement through an attorney saying she doesn't know what her lifelong friend, Ford, is talking about. She denies knowing Brett Kavanaugh and has no memory of attending any party with Ford and Brett Kavanaugh. So let's summarize everything that matters in the Christine Blasey Ford accusation. She names 4 people who she says were there, and every single one of them denies any recollection of being at the party she describes. Let alone of what Brett Kavanaugh may have done to her. Dr. Ford's own story of what happened is almost totally useless and thin on details. She doesn't remember when this supposed event happened, where it happened exactly, which I guess, okay, that's fine. I don't expect someone to remember the exact street address or of the place or, stuff like that. But how about just whose house it was? If we go on the assumption that they didn't break into some random house where no one was home, it had to be the home of one of those present at the party she claims to have been at. She doesn't even remember how she got from a private swimming pool in Montgomery County, Maryland, to this house. How she got, to the house in the first place. And for that matter, how she got from the house that she says she ran out of alone and got home. Clearly a young woman on foot, walking in a bathing suit. She couldn't have lived all that far from wherever it was she said this took place, and one assumes that she knew the way home. That's all I'm going to say on that, but, the bottom line is that with her own thin story with almost no useful information, combined with going 0 for 4 on getting any backup whatsoever of her story, by the 4 people she named who were there, of this party even happening, if it did, or even if it existed, there's really nothing to be done on this. Nothing. What's new as of Sunday night is that Ronan Farrow and Jane Mayer, writing for the New Yorker, report on a new, and I guess I'll have to call her an accuser, even though when you read what they wrote about what she said, is she really even accusing him? I mean, get this. A woman who attended Yale University at the same time as Brett Kavanaugh, a classmate in the same year, named Deborah Ramirez, who, if you can believe it, studied sociology and psychology. Dr. Ford is a psychologist, remember, so maybe Kavanaugh pissed off the psychiatric community in a former life or something. In any event, Ramirez says that she and Kavanaugh were freshmen in 1985, and they were at a dorm room party at Lawrence Hall in the old campus part of Yale. She says the attendees in the dorm room sat in a circle playing a drinking game. They'd take turns picking someone to drink. Ramirez says she quickly became inebriated and that a male student pointed a dildo at her, a plastic penis for those of you unfamiliar with what that is. Later she said that when she was on the floor, foggy and slurring her words as the dildo pointing student and another male student stood nearby, a third male student exposed his penis in front of her face. She says that it wasn't something she wanted, and she remarked that it wasn't a real penis. This says that caused the other students to start laughing at her and taunting her, saying to kiss it. She says that she pushed the person away, inadvertently touching his penis in the process, and Ramirez says that this caused her great embarrassment, humiliation, and shame due to her devout Catholic upbringing in Connecticut. Now remember, this is key. She doesn't identify the male who exposed his penis to her because she didn't see who it was and she was drunk, and she said her memory has lapses. Remember, she believed at the time that it was the dildo that she says was put in front of her earlier, not an actual penis. She then says she now remembers Kavanaugh, shortly after that, standing off to her right, laughing, pulling up his pants, or making a motion that made her believe he'd just pull up his pants. She said Bret was laughing. She also said she could still see his face and his hips coming forward, like when you pull up your pants. Notice that, like when you pull up your pants. So she didn't even see him pulling up his pants. She just saw his hips come forward like when you pull up your pants. She recalls another male student shouting about the incident down the hall that Brett Kavanaugh just put his penis in Debbie's face. His full name, not just, hey, Brett put his penis in Debbie's face. His full name, Brett Kavanaugh. So here's the key about this. Ramirez didn't remember this before. She acknowledges that there are significant gaps in her memories of the evening. Remember, she says she was drunk on the floor, foggy, and slurring her speech. Remember, she says she didn't know who did this to her until last week. Suddenly, she magically remembers when prompted by her lawyers. And here, just like Ford, the New Yorker says they have not confirmed with eyewitnesses that she said were there that Kavanaugh was even present at the party. Let me repeat this. The New Yorker hasn't confirmed with eyewitnesses that Kavanaugh was even present at the party. All we have is this sudden memory after 33 years by Ramirez that Brett Kavanaugh was standing beside her, thrusting his hip forward like someone who does when they pull up their pants, while she was in a drunken, memory lapse-filled haze. I'm not going to go further into the details of this story, but just suffice to say, is both accusations are not corroborated by any eyewitnesses, physical or documentary evidence of any kind. In fact, every other person named as being present at both incidents deny either themselves having been there, or that if they were Kavanaugh was, or that the event happened at all. Debbie Ramirez, if you can believe this, of all the lawyers in Washington that she could have hired to represent her, she hired Michael Avenatti, who you may know as pornographic actress Stormy Daniels' anti-Trump lawyer, or the Tucker Carlson viewers, I guess they know him as creepy porn lawyer, since he usually refuses to even say his name. So before you even know about this story and that Avenatti's involved, he's already whipping out the accusation that Judge Brett Kavanaugh is a serial gang rapist involved in a circle, a secret circle of gang rape party enthusiasts in Washington, D.C. and Yale, I guess. Again, Avenatti, he names no witnesses, describes no specific accusation or allegation, or provides any evidence. He just writes a letter to the committee, the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. He just injects himself into the confirmation process, demands that they ask multiple questions of Kavanaugh. Let's look at some of them. Question number 1. Did you ever target one or more women for sex or rape at a house party? Did you ever assist Mark Judge or others in doing so? Already in question 1, note how the question is framed to be so broad that almost any man would probably have to answer yes. He asked, did you ever target one or more women for sex or rape at a house party or assist Mark Judge or others in doing so? Note, he didn't restrict the question to rape, sexual assault. He says sex or rape. So he just asked if a man, at any point in his entire life, ever wanted to have sex with a woman at a party, or if he ever helped someone else, like a friend, in doing so. So basically, if he ever saw a woman at a party and thought to himself, gee, I'd like to get with her. Or if he ever helped a friend who, said, I really like that, I want to get with her. So by talking to a woman on his friend's behalf, or introducing a friend to her, he'd have to answer yes, and presumably, as this would probably apply to most men dozens, if not hundreds of times over the course of their lives, when asked to describe the details of each and every single time they ever thought, you saw a woman at a party and said, gee, I'd really like to get with her. Just imagine how ridiculous a follow-up questioning could become. Number 2, did you ever attend any house party during which a woman was gang raped or used for sex by multiple men? And let's combine it with question number 3. Did you ever witness a line of men outside a bedroom at any house party where you understood a woman was in the bedroom being raped or taken advantage of? Really, Avenatti? You're asking if Mr. Rogers Incarnate, Brett Kavanaugh, is in the habit of attending gang rape parties. I mean, the question 4 and 5, they're basically asking if he or Mark Judge or anyone else ever had sexual contact with drunk or intoxicated women at house parties, or discussed participation in running a train on an intoxicated woman at a house party. Fairly innocuous questions, I guess. I'm sure he'd say no to, but whatever. Obviously, there's an ulterior motive involved. Because you have question number 6, which is just stupid and pure bait, and you're going to see why. Question number 6 was, did you ever object or attempt to prevent one or more men from participating in the rape or taking advantage of a woman at any house party? Now think about that question. Kavanaugh has already testified that he has no recollection of attending any party where anything like gang rape occurred. Now if he answers yes, then he's already committed perjury, saying he had no memory of being at such a party. If he says no, as you expect he would, Avenatti bangs the drum and says that Kavanaugh is an enabler of gang rape, that because he never objected or attempted to stop one of the surely myriad instances of gang rape that Avenatti is going to claim that Kavanaugh was participated in or was present at a party where such a thing occurred, in his promise, in his quote, the coming days. So remember, in all this flurry of accusation against Kavanaugh, where you have no witness beside Ford even mentioning that they saw Kavanaugh do anything wrong at any time. In fact, every witness but Ford and Ramirez says that they weren't there at these parties or that Kavanaugh was there himself. Ramirez doesn't even remember seeing Kavanaugh do the thing she says happened to her. She claims to have had a 35-year after-the-fact memory that immediately after the incident she recalls seeing Kavanaugh off to her right making a movement with his hips like after one pulls up their pants. So we've gone from zero evidence, no corroborating witnesses, to Judge Kavanaugh is a serial gang rapist, part of a widespread conspiracy, an organization of holding gang rape parties in the Washington, D.C. suburbs and Yale University. This is now officially Democrat Pizzagate. You can't make this shit up. That's all for this NeoUnrealist. Like the video, comment, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, or you won't be kept to date with new content on YouTube. Now, if you want to toss some shekels at the channel, support it that way. You can follow the links below to Patreon, PayPal, or use the tip or pledge function under the video if you're watching BitChute. And most of all, especially for you longer time viewers, thank you for watching.